Andy, first thing, obviously, no games last weekend to try and get your head round. Has that been, I don't know, odd in terms of the preparation this week? Because I don't suppose there's much you can take from 16 minutes of football to go, right, well, we can build on that or learn from that for the week after, I suppose. Is that quite hard?
Yeah, there was some things that we looked at and we were pleased with. There were also some things that we need to get better at and learn from as well. So, yeah, it was obviously only a short period of time. I understand what the Reading fans are doing. I understand the frustration of how their football club's being ran. I understand why they did what they did. But from our point of view, it's obviously incredibly frustrating to play a 16-minute game and then have to wait for over 60 minutes then for a decision to be made to abandon the game. So as you say, having not played last Saturday, and then we've seemed to run into Arctic conditions in terms of the weather. So it's not been the easiest week in terms of preparation and from a training point of view for this Saturday's fixture.
One of the other things that came out this week, obviously Alfie Devine going back to Spurs, which is a big blow because we know the qualities that he's had. Just from your perspective, just tell us about how much of a player Alfie has been for you, and also maybe now the plan, because you know most people will assume you're going to try and get a replacement for him.
Yeah, I think as with any of the loan deals, there obviously was a recall clause, a time period, and it's generally 2 weeks. And we were well into that, and we'd had no indication from Tottenham that that they were thinking about a recall. But obviously, as soon as Ian Foster became the new Plymouth manager, there's an obvious link there for England with Alfie, and Tottenham have decided that they want him to spend the second half of the season in the Championship, which I also understand. It's testament to how well he's done in the first half of the season here with us. I think he would say that he's grown on and off the pitch in his time at the football club. He's grown in responsibility. We've loved having him here. He's been a pleasure to work with from my point of view, and definitely wanted to learn whilst he's been here. And he's a player we will all obviously now keep an eye on and see how his career progresses. And I think if he keeps on doing the basics and working hard and dedicating himself to his job, he's got a really bright future.
Just to reiterate the point, is there a plan to maybe go and look for another midfielder now he's gone back?
There's always a plan for whatever happens. You have to be ready for all the what ifs. As I said to you last week, when you say where you're looking, you have to react to situations like this. And we always had a plan. When you have 4 loan players in the first half of the season, there's always the possibility that all four players can go back, which they obviously have done in a variety of reasons. So, yeah, we've got plans in place. We've obviously already brought in Jensen, but we're actively looking. We're talking. We know the players we would like to bring in, and we'll see if we can get those deals over the line.
Kofi obviously goes back as well. Rhys Williams, though, coming in from Liverpool, from one centre half to another. What have you seen in him so far, and what can fans expect to see from him?
I think from Rhys's point of view, he obviously had really early exposure to Liverpool's first team. And played Premier League football and Champions League football, and then went on loan in the Championship. And for a variety of reasons, some totally not in his control, he's been recalled by his club to cover for injury crisis. And having had discussions with him over the last week or so, he's almost at a crossroads. He needs to get his career back on track again a little bit. He needs to start playing games. He needs to come here and be part of the group first and foremost, and become a Port Vale player now for 21 games and buy into everything that we want him to do. But again, he's a player from one of the bigger clubs in the country, and we're delighted that not only Liverpool but Rhys has chosen to come to us, and say from his point of view, he has to get back playing again.
Does the football club, in your opinion, have a really good reputation now amongst those Premier League teams because they are willing to give you players who are not just fringes of first team, but in his case have been in the first team and have played at the at Champions League level now? Have the football club got a good reputation amongst the top of the Premier League now?
I think you're probably better off asking those clubs why that they think that the players can come here. I would like to think so. I'd like to think that the evidence we've shown in the first half of the season, both in terms of how we're trying to play, how we've looked after the players on and off the pitch, we've given game time to young players, which is why they come out on loan in the first place. Sometimes you can go into a club and for whatever reason it doesn't work out. But yeah, we look at the bigger clubs in the country and that PL2 league, and there's some obviously extremely good players, young players who are inexperienced but good players. And we looked at things last year in terms of how we use the loan market and how we wanted to change and develop and offer a different opportunity to these young players, and that's what we've done.
Just to mention on the outgoing side of it as well, rumours today about Uche Ikpeazu, maybe Charlton, Wycombe, that are clubs that have been mentioned as being interested in him. Can you shed any light on that in your own words?
Excuse me. No, I think obviously with Uche's his contract, when he came in quite late, and it's obviously a short-term contract to the end of the season, there's interest in lots of our players, which is what I would say. There's obviously inquiries going on all the time about players' availability and what kind of fees, etc., etc. We're obviously aware of some interest in Uche, but there's interest in other players as well.
At this stage, though, nothing concrete in that?
No, nothing concrete at all. He's here this morning.
No. Great. And then just looking ahead at Wycombe, you played them just before Christmas. You know what they're about. You know their style of play.
Yeah.
I know you took a lot from that game in how to defend set pieces and crosses from what you spoke about at the time. But does it help that it's been a relatively short space of time because it is in some ways quite fresh in your memory?
Possibly. I think there was the best part of that afternoon was we got a point. I don't think we played particularly well, both with and without the ball, but we showed real togetherness, endeavour. We stuck together. Young players came on the pitch. James Wilson came back on the pitch, and we got a point. And when you're away from home, if you don't play well and you can come away with a point, it's a really good thing. So lots of things that we've obviously looked at and learnt from that game. We're aware of Wycombe's strengths. They've got a lot of experience in the attacking line of their team. That they've sometimes altered the midfield setup and who plays in that role. But fundamentally, it's about what we can do and how we can impact the game.